Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It's Wednesday, 12:30 p.m., August 17th. The price of Bitcoin is $23,512. The price of Ethereum is $1,854. The market is basically moving sideways. Bitcoin is down ever so slightly, but generally up over the last month. So not a ton of price action to speak about, but there are plenty of things going on. Now, as you know, if you've watched these streams before, I typically go through my timeline on Twitter. I find that there's a fair amount of signal on Twitter, not specific bits of information per se. Those are just broad headlines, and those are helpful, but really the tone, the sentiment, and I can find out what people are talking about and where the excitement is. What people are talking about right now, it's interesting, it's general, it's foundational. It's look at the last 10 years of return. Things just keep going up. Bitcoin is up 206,000% over the last 10 years, more than anything else. It's because Bitcoin is a truly decentralized, because it is truly decentralized, Bitcoin does what no other crypto can, provide an open, trustless, immutable, secure, and neutral monetary foundation upon which the entire world can operate. Good luck with your altcoin, though. Right? It's repeating these foundational truths about Bitcoin, that it is leaderless, that it is truly decentralized, that it has outperformed everything else. From Undisclosed at Bitcoin Undisk. I got into Bitcoin 7 years ago. 7 years is nothing when it comes to investing, but I've already become financially independent. Trust me on this if you're new. If you do the same as I did, but do it now, just wait 7 years, I bet you'll be financially independent too. I think he's right. There are people who do not believe this, the likes of Alex Becker, a very big YouTuber, just constantly digging on Bitcoin, saying that nobody ever makes any money on Bitcoin, even though it is demonstrably, factually, clearly the highest return asset investment over the last decade. The guy just flips tiny altcoins and thinks that's the only way to do things. It's apparently the only lens he's able to see the world through. It's crazy. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me show you that. There we are. From Stephen Livera, fiat banking, orange pill moments. What is your orange pill moment? I'd be curious. Let me know down below in the comments. Having your bank account frozen, sending an international wire, rapid fiat devaluations, being subject to a bail-in, getting questioned about how you use your own money. These are things that do not happen when you use Bitcoin. There is a big finale, but most of these tweets are just foundational, like I was saying. Bitcoin is stronger than ever today. Next year, it'll be even stronger. Ignore the short-term noise and dollar cost average. Long-term, you'll be glad you did. You see what I mean? A lot of people are repeating these kind of foundational truths because there's not like a huge ton of big headline excitement going on today. And if there is, it's usually about like altcoins, like what's going on with the Celsius issues, right? They're in litigation, right? But Bitcoin itself, it just keeps plugging along. And in that sense, it's boring. It's boring in the best way. It just keeps working. It doesn't really change. Awesome. And when it does change, it's because some big institution like BlackRock comes around and just wags their butt around saying that they're going to be a big deal in the Bitcoin world. You guys, BlackRock is not your friend. I'm not sure you even want them to be involved here. From Leia Hailpern, there are people who really think that Bitcoin will never reach $100,000. This is true. If you look at my live stream from last Friday, I was wearing a suit because I was going to a wedding. I saw people at that wedding that I haven't seen in 10 or 15 years. They asked, what are you doing? Oh, you're into Bitcoin, right? Tell me about that. Are we going to recover? And at first I didn't know what they were talking about. Literally, the question didn't even make sense to me. Like, wait, are you asking if Bitcoin is going to recover? Yes, of course, 100%, guaranteed, no doubt, no question. They were always surprised when they heard me say that. They're like, is it dead? Are we done? Is it over? Is the party completely over? And I'm like, good grief, no. Are you aware? I guess they're not. They're not aware of the past 10 years. They're not aware of what it really and truly is and how it works. You are still early, believe it or not. Everybody says like, oh no, I missed the train. I thought I missed the train in 2011. True story. Bitcoin is taking over the world and you are not too late. Just like you were not too late to the internet in the year 2000. From Bitcoin for Freedom, I save in Bitcoin to be able to live off the grid on a farm with my wife, children, and cows. Isn't that the dream, though? It's funny. I think a lot of Bitcoiners employ what Nassim Nicholas Taleb calls the barbell strategy. The barbell strategy is deploying extremes at the same time. You want to have, say, the highest tech, newest, awesomest car, say a Cybertruck, and a really old analog Chevy with no electronic components. If you're in the middle, you're subject to whatever catastrophe comes along, and everybody around you will be subject to the same catastrophe. If you have the barbell strategy, if you're operating at both extremes, both totally analog and totally digital, both farm and high tech, then no matter what happens, you will have stuff to fall back on. This was an investment strategy, but it's also a really interesting life strategy. That is a concept that has always stuck with me since I read his... Be quiet, Siri. I didn't ask for your help. From Benjamin Cohen, the great technical analyst whom I have a lot of regard for, he shows Bitcoin logarithmic regression. We are in the bottom band right now. It's not as low as it ever has been logarithmically, but it is pretty dang low. And if you notice those trend lines, they're moving up. So far as gross numbers go, we might be as low as we'll ever be again. At some point, Bitcoin reaches a level where it surpasses a price that it'll never reach anymore. We might be there right now. I'm not sure about that, but it could be the case. From Altcoin Daily, which is an interesting account to be saying this, when I was, quote, when I was 20, I wanted to own one full Bitcoin. Now that I own one Bitcoin, I want to be 20. Ugh, I want to be 20. I overheard this at a coffee shop. The guy was only 24 years old. Guys, life is long. It's super duper long. It's a long, if you're 20 years old or 25, listen, I'm 39. I'm not ancient history, but I'm a little bit older than a young pup. I got to tell you, life is a really long haul sort of thing. Plan for it. Live by that. You'll be glad you did. Geez, lamenting your lost youth when you're 24, my guy, you are still very young. From Documenting Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network settled $62 trillion worth of Bitcoin over the last year, 3 times more than the GDP of the United States. Yeah. Oh, Bitcoin's too slow. It can't really move money around. It does plenty of that, guys. It works just fine. In fact, you can't stop it even if you wanted to. From T Analyst, again, I don't really know who this person is. I don't really know that I take them at their word, and I don't know enough about technical analysis to be able to criticize this. What I can say is that technical analysis is the practice of finding patterns in the charts. And this looks like a pretty persuasive pattern, actually. They're arguing that we are at the bottom of this band and that we should be ready for a nice bull run in the very near future. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles. The 5th great bull run starts. We shall see. That would be nice, but I'm not sure, but it seems pretty persuasive. CBDCs are not your friend. Just going to leave this here. You have been warned. CBDCs in 2022. Don't look that threatening. CBDCs in 2047. Yeah, the Dark Lord, the Emperor of the Empire, the oppressor of all freedom and light. CBDCs are bad, bad, bad all the way through, and it's shocking to me whenever somebody doesn't acknowledge that openly. You occasionally see mainstream financial people talking about CBDCs as though they're like, a pretty efficient, good way to manage money. It's like, guys, this is how the evil empire takes total control. Do you not see that? Shocking to me when people don't see that. From Bitcoin Magazine, President of Kazakhstan meets with the CEO of the world's biggest Bitcoin and crypto exchange, CZ, from Binance. So nation by nation, little by little, these countries, these smaller GDP countries, smaller geopolitical influence countries are becoming more and more interested in Bitcoin. That might be because the US dollar has not served them tremendously well, and they're looking for alternatives. Justin from Watcher Guru, bankrupt Celsius Network receives approval to sell their Bitcoin, their mined Bitcoin, to cover their operations. Yeesh. Where is it? More about Celsius. I'll just jump over to this tab. Altcoiners slow down the adoption of Bitcoin. Outsiders conflate Bitcoin with crypto, and then they leave when they get wrecked by the crypto scams. We are not, quote, in this together. And then a tweet about the Canadian pension fund. CDPQ writes off the $200 million investment in Celsius. Quote, we arrived too soon in a sector which was in transition. Says it won't make any bets in the crypto industry ever again. This was a huge pension fund in Canada. They put $200 million in Celsius. They've probably lost it all. Ugh, and he's right. This kind of thing happens, and it's not like that pension fund manager is going to go make a distinction between Bitcoin and altcoins. They're not going to say like, yes, this centralized lender failed, but Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin proper, that's where it's at. The investors, other people involved, they're not willing to take that risk. They just lost a ton of money. So Neil Jacobs is right. Altcoiners slow down the adoption of Bitcoin. man, I am torn. I am so torn. I am really a maximalist who has a hard time with that title and has a hard time with some of the approach, but this is pretty undeniable to me. And you know what, though? I guess this is part of why I'm torn. This is people talking about how the merge is going to happen on September 14th, and these are Bitcoiners surrounding dead Ethereum, like it's going to die within the day of merge going live. I don't think that's really true. Bad systems can persist for a very, very long time. North Korea still exists. The USR persisted for a long time. I'm not necessarily saying that Ethereum is the USSR or North Korea, but I am saying that bad systems, unjust systems, corrupt systems, centralized systems, systems that are stacked against the regular user, they can sure persist for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of people will just accept that and roll with it. I think Ethereum may be in that camp. It does some interesting things. It is not Bitcoin. It is not going to exhibit the qualities of Bitcoin, but we shouldn't expect it to just die, roll over and die shortly after doing the merge. Maybe it will. Maybe that'll happen. All technical indications, everything I've heard from people who really know, say that that's not going to happen. All right, this is actually the one I was really interested in talking about today. Allow me to take you on a journey of Glassdoor employee reviews of the regional banks that make up the Federal Reserve System. This is from Anil said so. I don't know Anil personally, but this is a good thread, and I am following this individual. So let's take a look, shall we? Glassdoor gives employer reviews. For context, the Federal Reserve System is comprised of 3 key entities: the Board of Governors, the Federal Open Market Committee, and the 12 reserve banks. Each of the regional banks serves a specific district. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into it. Starting with New York, the review says everything is due soon, but no one knows exactly for sure when or what is due. So it sounds like mismanagement. They did not give it a positive star review. It's 3 out of 5. Another for New York. One pro of that job is that you get to have a gun. Whew, yikes. It's a lousy employer, but hey, I get to carry around a firearm. Well, you're an American. You can carry around a firearm if you want to anyway. This person says, do not come here. I cannot pinpoint exactly what it is other than authoritarian leadership that creates an us versus them mentality, blah, blah, blah. Jeez. Do you really want to work for an authoritarian organization? Worst place I've ever worked at, and I've been a grocery bagger in high school. Raises don't even catch up with inflation. Well, you don't say. Ironic that you should say that at the Federal Reserve. Now, Anil adds, it's unfair of me to only share negative reviews, so here's a positive one. It's a good place to retire. Interesting. That's a recurring theme that I think we will see again. Moving on to Dallas, this person says, steer clear until new leadership reverses the toxic culture. Anil, tongue-in-cheek, says, whoa, hold on just one second. Toxic culture is our thing, us Bitcoiners, us toxic Bitcoiners. I do not consider myself a toxic Bitcoiner, but good joke, Anil. Again, in the same vein of being fair and balanced, here's a positive review. Once someone joins, they stay until retirement. This is where careers go to die. How about the Philadelphia one? The culture will kill you, where careers go to die. Perfect job on the road to being obsolete. Yikes. Moving on to Boston, where it's not so much about achieving objectives as it is about simply having them. Great mission, dysfunctional senior management. See, one thing that we assume about these organizations is they must be filled with very capable people, right? These are powerful, strong institutions with long staying power. They must be intensely capable people. I think that's an illusion. I think there are some capable people there. I think there are some incapable people there. These kind of bureaucracies, man, they do not have the cream of the crop necessarily. I think there are some smart folks at the top, and there are a lot of busy worker bees that just do what they're told in the middle. Oh, I would die there. I would die. The place where you will learn nothing. This organization will go bankrupt in a couple of years. How? Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. This organization will go bankrupt in a couple of years. Geez, that's the place that prints the money, and he's saying it's going to go bankrupt. Oof. All right, one last stop. Sheesh. Someone might want to check on Kansas. Just saying. Bizarre, political, and antiquated. Hire droves of college kids to have them work on tons of manual Excel spreadsheets that apparently drive the entire budget. Quite a bit of sexual harassment going on. You'll probably put up with it because you'll be in management yourself within 3 years. What a horrible place to work. I guess it's better than having no job. says this person. I'm not sure that's true. I think I might prefer to have no job. Well, there you have it, friends. The Federal Reserve is a poison. Central authorities and authoritarians are a poison. Be as free as you possibly can. It might be your moral imperative to avoid these institutions, to work outside of them as much as humanly possible. Good luck to all of us. That's my stream for the day. I got to go pick up my kid from school. It's been fun. We'll talk again soon. Let me know down in the comments what you would like to discuss in the future, and we'll hit it in a future stream.